Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. My name is Vicky Iozia. Peg and I are co-presidents, and we're happy to see you. And I'm thrilled that we have these two guests with us today. So you don't even have to say anything already. Everybody's ready. I'm going to ask you to please mute your cell phones and your watch. Don't laugh at me, Linda. One time I said that I left my watch on and it started to go off. We don't have a flag, but you all know what it looks like. Could those who can stand and we'll salute the flag that we don't have?
This is Becky. Where's the flag?
Where would you put it?
All right, in the corner. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is being recorded. It will be on YouTube, and the link will be on the newsletter. How many of you get the newsletter? Oh, yeah, I remember the days when I'd get 2 or 3 hands up. How many of you read the newsletter? Oh, that's great. Okay. That's great. There are reminders. If you did not get one, Rosemary will give you one, tells you what's coming up. January, we have Families for Strong Public Schools. February, we have Tiara Alexander speaking. And in March, we have another luncheon here with Jim Gavelis. I am going to talk about these gentlemen. Well, I don't care if it embarrasses them because you really need to hear this. Our guest speakers are, of course, the Sheriff, David Vincent, and our Superintendent of Schools, Scott Hebert. So let me tell you about these guys and the experience that they have, because once I started putting together, it blew me away. Sheriff Vincent, you ready? 911 operator, communications officer, patrol deputy, narcotics detective, school service resource officer, sergeants of the school resource officers, administrative sergeant patrol division, lieutenant education and professional standards, director of the Citrus County Public Safety Training Center, captain education and professional standards, captain of the patrol division, captain of special operations division, special operations member of the bomb squad commander, explosives breacher, SWAT, public safety diver, underwater explosive divers. And I'll do this one last. Dr. Hebert is no slouch here. We were talking the other day. I remember when he first started in the district, and I kept hearing about him going up all the steps and doing the wonderful things that he did. He was a middle school teacher, an elementary school teacher where he taught several different grades. His excellence as a teacher was seen early on. He earned the Citrus County Teacher of the Year Award while at IPS in 1999. Later that year, he was named 1999's Florida Teacher of the Year. He was a school counselor, assistant principal, and then a principal. Director of area schools and elementary education, he joined the superintendent's executive team as chief academic officer in charge of the entire district's educational services team. Assistant superintendent of school operations. Turn the page. Adjunct professor at Florida Southern College, taught curriculum studies to educators seeking a master's degree. Currently, he guides doctoral students through policy and leadership classes. He also serves as a dissertation chair, one of the final steps before a student gets torture enough to earn an EDD. Vice President of the Florida Organization of Instructional Leadership and Secretary of the Florida Educational Research Association. Board members of Citrus County Blessings, Suncoast YMCA, and the Citrus County Education Foundation. He's a committed member of the Inverness Rotary Club. Inducted into the Florida Educators Hall of Fame. And I am now going to shut up so that you can hear our speakers. Shall we flip a coin? Okay, I've got a microphone for you.
Listen, he did the bomb squad. I'm not.
That's it. Never argue with anybody who's done the bombs.
All right. So when I saw the two microphones, I think we were going to do a lip sync battle. No, that would not be good. That would not be good. That would not be good. So, good morning. Thanks for having us. It's always good to get in front of this group. This is probably one of the most friendly groups that I get to speak with. So I appreciate your hospitality and your welcomeness. So, I think what I'm going to talk a little bit about this past year, our sheriff's office, and some of the challenges that we had early on, and kind of where I think we're going in the future. And then and we'll talk a little bit about our interaction, since we have the superintendent of schools with us today, is how we interact as the two organizations and the things that we have our hands in with the school district, and some of those things coming down that pipe. But really, I'm trying to remember. I asked Vicki. I think I spoke to you guys right after I took office earlier this year. And it was crazy. It really hasn't slowed down very much since that time. But you all know that there were some challenges coming into office without having that transition period. So we really overcame that. But it did set you back a little bit. There were some things that we could have gotten done out of the way early on that we just didn't have that opportunity to do. But we have a great team at the sheriff's office, and moving forward, there was I really looked at this first year as like housekeeping things that policies that needed to be changed, all of those things that's going to make our organization better. So there was a lot of work to do there. A couple of big things right off the top of my head that people don't think about when they think about the sheriff's office, but was very concerning to me, was our health care for our men and women. My message to our employees at the sheriff's office from the day I set foot there as the sheriff is that I really feel like my job, other than the obvious, right, is keeping our community safe. But my job is to make every day. I should be working every day to make our employees' lives better. And everyone is feeling the increase of costs and stuff like that. But I will tell you, our healthcare program was in dire straits. We were about $1 million in deficit in our healthcare fund, and it just kept compounding. So about half, I would say a little before the summer, I realized how critical that problem was. And it was a problem that I didn't expect to tackle in my first year, because you had to educate yourself on healthcare. We were currently, at the time, we were in a healthcare program with the Florida Sheriff's Association. And when I looked at that, the Florida Sheriff's Association does great work, but I'm not loyal just because it's a sheriff's association. I'm loyal to our employees and our community, that I want to get the best bang for our buck out there. So we went out to bid and looked at some healthcare programs, and we actually left the Florida Sheriff's Association healthcare employee trust and entered into our own. The goal for that is I want to reduce healthcare costs for our employees. Right now, if you have a family at a deputy sheriff, you come in making $56,000 a year as a deputy sheriff. It's $1,000 a month if you have a wife and a child for healthcare. So you look at the costs of things that are happening out there, and we're taking a big chunk of their paycheck, about $490 a paycheck every 2 weeks out of their to pay for healthcare. My goal is to slowly chip away at that. So when we switched healthcare plans this year, we got it to where we remain flat this year, and the goal is to keep reducing that every year. And we're being very strategic with our healthcare reserves. We have funds and reserves that for the catastrophic things. So that was a huge project. I don't think people really understand the magnitude of doing something like that, leaving a healthcare system. And I know Dr. Hebert can appreciate this, because I know the school district is in the same boat, is really trying to look out for your employees and do better for them. And I think that us as leadership in our organizations, that's our job every day, is to make our employees' lives better while we're out doing and serving the communities that we serve. Because every dollar I can save our employees in healthcare puts it back into their pocket, so that they have a better quality of life. So I was really happy with our decision to do that. And I really think we're going to see that come to fruition 2-3 years out. I knew it was a long-term plan to try to reduce. If I could reduce the healthcare costs in half in 4 years, I will be happy with that. If we can say, hey, from the day I took office 4 years later, we cut our healthcare costs in half for our employees, I think that's a huge accomplishment for that. I know I've talked to the last time I was here about reorganization. We completely reorganized the sheriff's office and had a lot of moving parts there in the first few months. But I think we're starting to get into that settled part. I wouldn't say we kind of had the normal, what you would consider people leaving and coming to the agency when I took office, and it felt a little like a lot at the beginning, but we've kind of like stabilized. We've had some retirements of folks, but I really think that we're starting to stabilize. So, the people who are there, we're not seeing, people leaving the agency. We're actually seeing people coming back to the agency that had left the agency. So that's positive. And the reason that I think that for me, that's so important is that that's not me going out and talking about our sheriff's office to former employees. Former employees are talking to current employees still, and the current employees are saying, hey, things are pretty good here, you might want to consider coming back, and they're starting to do that. So that's just a testament of our employees happiness. I think I would like to attribute to that, and just saying, hey, like I said, my job is to make their lives better every day, and that's the message that I want to give to them. So good things there. We talked briefly, I know at the beginning of the year, I don't think we had implemented the body-worn camera program the first time I talked to you guys early in the year, because we were still trying to figure that out. But hopefully you've all seen in the news, the body-worn camera project that we put in place. We found the money to do that. We created the policies, all of those things to get that started. Huge undertaking. I think when I talk to people, it's not just putting a camera on a person and saying, hey, go out and conquer. You had to create policy. You had to find the money to do that. You had to have the IT infrastructure to support video uploads and all of those things. So it was a massive project. And if you remember, I told them I wanted that done by June 30th of this year. And we were ahead of schedule, and I was happy to say we actually had our first camera out in the patrol division on May 30th of this year. So all of our deputy sheriffs, yep, all of our deputy sheriffs currently in the patrol division are wearing body cameras, and really that's where the rubber meets the road. That's who's interacting with our public, and people are like, well, why aren't they on every deputy? Well, if you're a bailiff in the courthouse or you're a school resource officer, your interactions are a little bit different than a man or a woman answering a calls for service at a house. That's what's important. The traffic stops, all of those things. If we could get there, we'll get there. If we can afford as a community to supply a body camera to every deputy sheriff, I would gladly put them on there. But I will tell you, the current rates for a body-worn camera on a deputy sheriff is about $5,000 per deputy per year. So that's the camera, the storage for all of the video evidence, and all of those things. So it is an expensive venture, but I'm here to tell you, it is the best investment that I've seen our sheriff's office make in a very long time. And I will tell you, the first day that we put a body camera out there, and some of you might remember this, in Inverness, we had a barricaded subject in an apartment complex over right off of Forest Drive in Inverness. It was the first day we put a body camera out there. The value of that, because when that call first happened, I was sitting in my office in Inverness and heard that call go out, and we have the ability to live stream into a deputy's camera from our office. So I literally hit a button, and on my television in the office was actual live footage of that deputy who was on scene with that person. So from a tactical perspective and leadership, making decisions, like instant information, and I know exactly what's happening. I'm not waiting on information to be relayed to me. So just in the day one, and when I left that scene that day and we saw all of the capability of that, and trust me, it's gotten better. That was day one. We're realizing the potential of this. I said it's worth every single penny we put in that program just because of that right there. We got that person out of their house successfully without them being hurt, without any of our officers being hurt, because we were making good decisions about what was happening because we could see it happening real time. So the body-worn camera has been a huge game changer. And I will tell you this too, and I've said it for a long time, it changes the public's behavior, right? so that the people that want to act a fool in front of us before cameras think twice about doing that now, because if they end up going to jail, they know that that is going to be played for the jury of whatever crime that they are committing, and it changes their behavior. And I think it changes our deputies' behavior too. It gives them that sense of like, hey, not that we're watching all of the time, but they know that my model is a customer service based model, and they know that I expect a good product out there to our citizens and providing a good service. And they know if I wanted to, I could pull that video up, but I don't do that because our men and women, 99.9% of the time, are out there doing the right thing, doing good work, and they're doing right by our citizens out there. I will tell you, we thought, we had complaints before. Our complaints have dropped because people would call in and say, hey, that deputy was rude to me on a traffic stop. And we pull up the video. No, he just gave you a citation. I'm sorry you're upset about that, but he was very polite and professional and sent you on your way. And they don't have a leg to stand on, because you're looking at the video and they're like, that's not what he said or she said. So it's a great tool, and it works both ways. So we're really excited about that. The Deputy Recruit Sponsorship Program. We had a recruiting problem. And I think I talked about this a little bit. When I took office in January, we had 6 applicants to be a deputy sheriff that had experience. Some didn't have experience. But we had a recruiting problem at our sheriff's office. We couldn't get men and women in there. And the previous administration had vacant positions. And with vacant positions, and the superintendent can appreciate this, when you have a vacant position, that salary is sitting there, right? And the previous administration didn't take advantage of those dollars. I hate to say it, but they wasted money on a lot of things, but that vacant salary was sitting there. So when I took office, I said, why are we letting those salary dollars sit there and not helping the people who want to be deputy sheriffs by going and sponsoring them at the academy? So my plan, I shot it out to the Board of County Commissioners, said, look, I want to use our vacant salary positions. They had held money for 10 positions for me when I took office. I said, I'm going to be very transparent here. I don't need all of that, because if we can send someone to the academy, it's a different benefit package, a different salary. I can turn that 10 into 15 positions. And they said that we did the math, and I showed it to them in a meeting, and they said, that sounds like a good idea, Sheriff. So we sent 15 people to the academy. So we released the sponsorship program. We said, hey, we want to sponsor you. If you want to be a deputy sheriff, we want to send you to school. We're going to pay you a wage that will help you survive through school if you have a family or whatever, and you come work for the sheriff's office. We put that out. In 3 weeks, we had 90 applicants. 90 applicants. So, and we asked the question during the interviews, if this sponsorship wasn't available, could you have done this? And every one of them said, no, we couldn't have done that. So I think what has happened there is, life gets busy. Kids get out of high school, they might go to college, they come back, they're working, they might have a family already. They can't quit their job and go to the police academy for 6 or 8 months and not have an income, right? So the greatest thing about this class that's getting ready to graduate is that it's such a variety of people, because there's people that said, look, there is no way I could have quit my job and went to the police academy. And this opportunity that you have given me has allowed me to do that, because I've always wanted to be a deputy sheriff, but they just didn't have the means to do that. So with that, I feel like it's an investment in people, right? You invest in that person and you hope that they return that favor to us and they stick around Citrus County and have great long careers. But I think that investment in them in the front end will pay us dividends in the back end. So those 15 are at the Withlacoochee Technical College with Dr. Hebert at the Public Safety Training Center, because I wanted to make sure we kept those dollars local, supporting our local programs, because the previous guy, that's how I refer to the previous sheriff, as the previous guy, was sending all his people to Hernando counties and not sending them to Citrus County schools. So we sent them to the Public Safety Training Center. And tonight, I'm speaking at the graduation. 15 of Citrus County Sheriff's Office deputies are graduating our academy tonight, and they'll start work tomorrow. So, but that goes back to the great partnership with the school district. We suffered 8 years of no relationship between the school district and the sheriff's office. Very, very, I don't know how to even describe that. yeah, it was like this black hole of time. It feels like, but there, the relationship with the academy was broken. The school resource officer program felt broken just because there was a disconnect with the previous administration. So I'm happy to say that we have a great working relationship again with our school district, and the academy is just one of those examples that we have that. So fast forward a few months past that first 15, we applied for the COPS grant, which if you've heard about the COPS grant at all with the previous sheriff, that was a whole disaster. But I said, hey, we need to try to apply again. And I was really worried that we weren't going to get the money because of the previous year's debacle, I'll call it. But we applied for it, and we were actually awarded for it. So again, I went for the county commissioners, said, hey, here's what 20 deputies look like, because to start another district, and I'll talk about that in a second, about where we see the growth happening, is we need about 35 more positions. So we had the 15, I needed 20 more. So we applied. We received $2.5 million from the federal government to support that. And again, we put out our notice, and we got about almost 100 applicants on that second round. And we have 24 starting school right after Christmas break at the academy. So next June, we'll have 24 more graduates coming out of the technical college there. So we're really, really proud of that. I can tell you, I've been here been at the sheriff's office 30, well, I've been here. I took a break. I was 4 years at the school district as the chief. But 33 years here, we've never put that many people into our agency in 1 year. This year, we'll have put 35 more deputy sheriffs in patrol, and we've never been able to do that before. So that's a huge accomplishment for our agency, because again, there's a lot of behind the scenes work happening with those things. So I'm really, really happy with that. All right, so I don't want to take away from Dr. Hebert's time. So things in the future, the healthcare thing, I already touched on that. That's a huge continual project. And like I said, my goal is to cut employee cost in half in 4 years to do that. And this year, our big focus and with our county commissioners is our staffing study. So we're starting to fall behind when we look at surrounding law enforcement agencies and what starting pays and stuff look like. The state of Florida and Trooper Clouds here, and he can tell you, for years, the state of Florida was very far behind when it came to law enforcement salaries. They are now totally 180 degrees opposite, that they are almost leading in a lot of parts of the state, other than probably South Florida, in what a trooper starts off making. I think this year they're at 66,000, I think, is a starting trooper now. We're at 56,000. Our neighbors, Sumter County, who is probably one of our biggest competitors when it comes to personnel, they just bumped up to $62,000 for a starting deputy. So we've got to try to keep pace with some of that. And I talked to the surrounding sheriffs. I go, could we all just please agree on what a starting salary was? And because we're always competing with each other, like, oh, I'm going to raise 1,000. And, I'm like, can we all just kind of agree? But it really is, we're following what the economy is doing. The cost of living is getting more expensive. So my big focus going into this budget year that you'll hear me talk of, if you hear me over the next probably 8 months or so, is trying to make that adjustment for our men and women at the sheriff's office. And it's not just in our law enforcement side, it's our support side, which is also very behind. We have a tremendous support services division that supports the things that our men and women are out here doing every day. And I want to make sure that they're fairly compensated too. So we're going through a big salary study right now. I should have some preliminary numbers in January so that I can start having some talking points about how much that's going to cost to try to get everybody up to what the fair market value of their positions are. So that's a big one for this year coming up. We talked about the academy. So school district teen driver program. Again, one of those things that fell off the rails with the previous administration. Dr. Hebert and I can tell you firsthand how important it is to educate teenagers driving on our roadways. Tragically, we've seen two students that have been killed in car accidents that were Citrus County students. So the teen driver is something very near and dear to my heart. I know that Dr. Hebert shares that same feeling with that. So we're bringing the teen drivers program back to do that. And we're doing that for students during their school day. So they don't have to take extra time on the weekends, whatever it is, we're actually letting them attend those during school hours. They run from about 8 a.m. till about 1:30 p.m. We go out, teach them how to corrective drive, all those good things. And I'm telling you, it has saved probably more lives than we even know over the years. So I'm excited to have the teen driver program back. To do Communications Academy, another program that we're going to work with the technical college. Probably the next biggest recruiting problem that we have is our communications, our 911 operators. So we want to partner with the school district to say, hey, can we create a program that gets the training done on the front end at the Public Safety Training Center? So when they graduate there, they can come right into the 911 center and start working. So that's another big goal for this year. And then lastly, talking about the school district is school safety. I can tell you because wasn't just last year, I was sitting in the superintendent's office and we were talking about school safety when I was the chief. But there's probably nothing I would say school safety is probably, I know it's at the top of his mind because you cannot expect kids to learn if the environment is not safe. So that's probably one of his number one things, and it's in the back of my mind every day. Being a former school resource officer, the chief of the school district, school safety is at the top of my list, and I'm so glad that I have the relationship now that I can pick up the phone and call Dr. Hebert and say, hey, I think we need to do this with school safety and vice versa. So it's good to be back in that spot because I think we could all agree one of the most things that we should look out protecting is our kids out there and making sure that they're safe in their environment. We have 21 deputy sheriffs at our Citrus County School District that are out there doing the great work every day. If you didn't know, the state of Florida is probably one of the most progressive states in the United States when it comes to school safety. We are required to have a law enforcement or a school guardian out every school campus in the state of Florida. So I don't think any other state can say that. So we have a very aggressive stance. And again, it's a great partnership with the school district. So, all right, so I've been blabbing for 25 minutes. I'm going to let the superintendent tell you about his year. But it's been a great year. I'm looking forward to 2026. And again, it is such an honor for me to be able to serve the citizens of Citrus County. Citrus County will always be first with me and taking care of the people here. And I just appreciate the support and the opportunity to serve you. So thank you. Oh, it's time for the lip sync battle. Hey, we're old enough. It'd be like Backstreet Boys or something. Right, yeah. So right. Yeah. If you told that to a high schooler now, they'd be like, who? Yeah. Who?
So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And I'm going to reiterate what Sheriff Vincent said. I appreciate your support over this past year and support in me serving this community in the role as superintendent for Citrus. Oh, hold it closer.
There you go.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I'm eating it. So I appreciate your support on that. But I do want to start with, and I appreciate Sheriff Vincent saying that, we've had several tragedies in our school system this year that we had to deal with. And I will say what a great relationship with the sheriff's office. We had 2 students that were killed tragically in car accidents, and both of them from the same high school. So new principal, new leadership team there. So that was one challenge to overcome. We also had a teacher that passed away at Crystal River High School this past year. And then we've had 2 deputies. Deputy Lahara, well, he was elevated to Corporal Lahara. And then we had Rodriguez, who was Corporal, because you did that after. So used to call them deputies. So both of them, passed away this year. I will say Sheriff Vincent did a phenomenal job with all of those situations in communication with me and our team to make sure that we were doing everything we can, not only to support the school, but to support the families. That was number one important, I know, for me and important to him as well. And so that partnership of him, he called me on the way in saying, are you almost here? That's the relationship that we have. And as he said, that was not something that was before. I'm very fortunate I've worked with Sheriff Vincent, I almost called him Chief. Sheriff Vincent, when he was the chief. I will say the other piece that he's not bragging on, he had a plan in place when he knew this could be an opportunity for him to become sheriff, who was going to take over. And Chief Montgomery, who worked alongside him in our safety office, has been a phenomenal chief of police. And I give you credit. You brought her in, you helped train her, and she does a phenomenal job. She is my right hand because, as he said, safety is number one. We have 16,000 students in the school district, and I want to make sure they're safe each and every day. And so we have to have the right team, partnership with him, as well as working closely with her as well. So my job, I believe, is to make sure I prepare our students for the future. We have, as I said, we have 16,000 students in our district. 80% of families choose public education in Citrus County schools. 80% choose that. Now, there are choices out there. Families can have choices, but I appreciate the fact that 80% of our families believe in the work that we do. We have a 92% graduation rate, and the new one is coming out in January, and I'm going to tell you it's continuing to go up. I can't release the number yet, but it's going to be higher, and I'm very excited about that based on the data that we have, but I got to wait for the state to release that.
Come on, you can tell us.
Listen, my data person told me, it's about YouTube. We are proud of the fact that we're a B district. As you know, that the state has a lot of requirements of things that we have to follow and meet. We're continuing to do that to build that capacity. We obviously want to move back into that A slot. My goal is to be one of the top 10 districts in the state. So our goal is to move in that direction. Those things don't happen overnight. We have to work strategically, collaboratively to do that. And we're working in that way. I am also very excited about the career technical opportunities we provide for students. So if you're not aware, we provide 155 CTE courses. We have 70 industry certifications, and we have 3,900 students enrolled in these courses to gain workforce skills in the medical field, healthcare, information technology, agriculture, culinary construction, and many, many more. So I'm happy to say, as a public school system, we offer these opportunities for our kids each and every day that they can learn this work, whether they want to enter the workforce, whether they want to enroll in the, another post-secondary institution like WTC or a college, or if they want to go into the military. We want to make sure they have those base skills to be able to do that work. My belief in giving kids hands-on opportunities is a program that I'm starting this year at Inverness Middle School called Toolbox for Tomorrow's Leaders. And we're starting it in January at the Inverness Middle School, and it's going to give kids an opportunity to kind of have a look at learning about some of the trades that are out there. We've kind of moved away from offering some of those programs. Again, that was before my time in this world as superintendent, but I believe those are important skills that we need to go back to making sure we provide for our kids. For kids to learn about basic auto mechanics, kids to learn about what are some of those career choices they can do when they leave high school if they don't want to enter college, if they don't want to go to a secondary school. Can we give them those skills in the high school so they can enter the workforce? Because many students would prefer to do that. When I talk to them, many of them are like, I want to get out and work, but they want to be able to work at a high wage. Well, you can't do that without some training and technical skills. So we want to provide that. So we're going to give those middle school kids a chance to see that. And then the goal is the following year to have this at all of our middle schools. And this is in collaboration with our business community. So I've asked businesses to say, hey, will you come in and talk to our kids, spend an hour in the afternoon and show them what does it mean to be a plumber? What are those skills you need to know? What does it look like? And give kids those opportunities to be an electrician, right? To do that work. We want to give kids those opportunities at the young age, because by the time kids get to high school, they've already have their plans in place. They already say, I know what I want to do. I want to get them early to have them start thinking and giving them those exploratory skills. So that's something we're putting into place, and I'm excited for that to happen at Inverness Middle and be excited to see where that happens across the rest of the district as we roll that out. The other piece that's important is civics education. I think it's important for kids to learn that they need to understand their rights and responsibilities as a citizen in our community. So I have a superintendent council. So I have a superintendent council at each of our high schools that I meet with monthly, and they have a chance to give me input. I have a chance to ask them questions. They have a chance to ask me questions. So last week, I decided and we've done this for a number of years. We've taken them up to Tallahassee. They meet with legislators. They get to kind of tour the Tallahassee and kind of see how it works. But this year was a little bit different. So this year, I worked with Dr. Thomas, and she works as a lobbyist up in Tallahassee. I said, I want to give the kids a real world experience, not just having a talking head. I want them to experience it. So we had the speakers come in. Towards the end of the day, we were in the Senate chambers, and they took the kids through a mock opportunity to determine something they wanted to pass. Now, I will share with you what that was. It's a little funny, but listen, it was kids. Last minute, we were just trying to decide something. So the students said, I'm going to propose this bill. I want flip-flops to be considered something that you can wear to for as formal wear. That was kind of the idea. Flip-flops are formal wear. So they went through the process. Kids presented on one side, kids presented on the other, but they had to do it respectfully, and they had to do it at the seat they were at. So if they were at a certain senator's seat, the person running it said, you're recognized, Senator so-and-so. The student stood up, the student spoke, and then the student sat down, and then they recognized the next person. So they went through this whole conversation and dialogue about, on one side saying flip-flops are formal wear, the other saying no, they're not formal wear and you shouldn't be doing it. So then at the end, they said, all right, now you're going to get to vote. But you need to remember, when you vote, it is public. You are now on the sunshine. And they wanted the students to understand, when your legislators are up in Tallahassee, everybody knows what they're doing. This is not, you can't go up and say, well, I'm going to say one thing to my local folks, but I'm going to do something different in Tallahassee, because when they had a chance to push the button, they had a yay and a nay of what they were going to vote on. And the students at the end loved the experience. They said they did not know that that's how it worked. They didn't know that those are the conversations and how the dialogue happened. I will tell you, it did pass that flip-flops are formal. But there were some students that were against it, so it wasn't 100% passed, but it was great for the students to see and experience that. And they said how much it was, they heard all the legislators come in and talk about things that were coming up and ideas. And then for them to say, now we know the experience of it. And then they talked about, and I don't know if you know this about the lobbyists. This was something I did not know. They said, do you know why lobbyists are called lobbyists? Well, I'm thinking, well, because they're lobbying for a particular bill. Well, there's the Senate side of the chambers, and then there's the House chambers. In the middle is the lobby. Back in the day, that's where the lobbyists would meet to get their ideas and things passed. Now they go and have office meetings and all of that. But we were told that was where the term lobbyist came from. So the students were excited to say, well, that makes sense. As you're coming out to use the bathroom or go get something, the lobbyist out there said, hey, do you have a minute? I got to tell you something I'm trying to do, right? And that's where the term came from. So anyway, that was just a little bit of trivia. I did not know that, but I was excited to do that. We're also excited about strengthening our workforce. As I talked about, we have great partnerships with the College of Central Florida. We have the Phil Royal EMT Academy, where students can become trained as EMTs right at Crystal River High School. The one challenge that we haven't been able to do is we haven't had students be able to take dual enrollment courses on their campus. So if I'm at Citrus High School and I want to go to CF, I have to get in my car or take a bus to drive over to the college or go to Ocala and then drive back. Think of the time wasted in the car. Where we have teachers, amazing staff, that can teach those courses right at Citrus, right at Crystal River, and Lecanto. It's just easy for them to go, but Lecanto could do it too as well. So students don't have to leave the campus. So we've reached out. I've told CF, this is an expectation. I want to be able to offer this because I don't think it's fair for our kids in Crystal River and Citrus to not have the opportunity because they don't have a college close to them. So they're going to allow us, we're going to move in that direction to be able to provide those opportunities. WTC is doing the same thing. We have a new director, Colleen Strickland. If you have a chance, you'd love to have her speak. She's amazing, amazing work. And talking about the work she's doing, she's also wanting to do the same thing because I said, I think our students at the high schools need the same opportunities to take dual enrollment where they don't have to travel to WTC. They can do some of those courses, like the welding that we're offering, like electricity. So we're looking at expanding those programs at some of our base schools through the work that they're doing at WTC. So we're very happy about that. We also have some new programs that we're planning to bring. One of them is it's called, and it's just starting in January, the LPN to RN, and it's a bridge program. So if you're an LPN and you want to be an RN, it's this program you can go into. Now, you don't get a bachelor's degree, the registered nurse, you get a certification. So you're certified to be an RN, but you don't have a bachelor's degree, but you pass all the same tests. It's all the same coursework. It's just without that Bachelor of Science degree or Bachelor of Arts degree in nursing. They've had 200 people apply and they only had 20 slots available. So 200 students wanted to jump into that bridge program to go into being a registered nurse. So we're very fortunate that we have that. We've offered that. We're also looking at offering aviation. So she's reached out to our county commissioners to say, what can we do to offer a satellite campus? Because we don't have the space in Inverness to explore and have, aviation there. But the airports do. So we'll offer a satellite campus where the students will travel there, do some of the hands-on work there, do some of the school work back at WTC. But we're trying to think outside the box of things we can do. The other piece that she's been very focused on, and this was under my guidance to tell her this, we need to start doing classes in the evening.
Yes.
We have many folks that work during the day. Welcome. And they want to expand their skills. And so how do we do that? If they're working, they can't do that unless they quit their job. So what are those courses we can offer? So we're going, much like a traditional college offers night classes, we're going to start going back to that. And we did it many years ago, and then for some reason, it just kind of went away. The other piece that I've talked to her about is looking for, people have said to me, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit about carpentry. I don't need to get certified. I don't want to be a master carpenter. I just want to do a little carpentry work. So we want to offer some of those, what they call community courses, where you can come in, you can learn some kind of a skill. We can, charge, it would be a nominal fee. We have to have an instructor that can teach it, but giving the community opportunity to say, here's something I can learn. I know I'm not going to use it to actually get a job. I just want to learn it to learn something new. And I've had such a request for folks that want to do that. They want those opportunities, and we could do those in the evening. We have the campus available. It's just a matter of connecting with what does the community want and what instructors do we have to do that. So we're very happy about that. As something that's been important to me, we rebranded Citrus County School. We had a logo. It had an apple, Citrus County Schools, and really it was a great logo, and it really focused on, if you think about an apple for a teacher and that whole education being connected to an apple. But when I came into office, and I had many people say, we want something, what could we do to kind of really get in behind our district? And we want something that tells a story of Citrus County Schools. So if you've had a chance to drive by the office, or if you see some of our literature going out, and we're doing it slowly, so we're not rebranding as things need to be replaced, we do that. But the new logo is an orange, because we're citrus and we're an agriculture community. So that's what the orange represents. In the middle of the logo is a graduation cap, because my goal is 100% of our students to graduate in 4 years from high school. That's the goal, right? Told you we're at 92, but our goal is to get to 100%. So we want everybody graduating, walking across stage with that high school diploma. We then say, okay, so how do you get there? Well, there's different things that you can do to get there, different pathways that you may choose to take. So there's 3 colors going up, and those 3 colors represent the schools that offer those opportunities. So we have blue for Crystal River, we have green for Lecanto, and then we have gold for Citrus. We also have WTC, which is a shade of green, and we have Crest, which is a shade of blue. Those are our 5 schools where students can graduate from. So those colors kind of go up to the graduation cap at the top of the logo. Coming out of the logo are 3 colors. Those 3 colors represent 3 opportunities. You can enroll in a technical school, or enroll in post-secondary or college. You can enlist in the military and serve our country, like my son did, who I'm very proud of his service to our country, serving the Army for 3.5 years. Or if you want to, you can just get employed. You can come work in one of our local businesses in the community. So those are 3 options that we have coming out of that cap. The other colors that those represent, the green represents the forest with the Lacucci State Forest. The blue represents the water, because we live in Crystal River. We have all the lakes, right? And then the black that we have coming out represents Rails to Trails, which is part of Citrus County. So the logo tells a story. And my goal is to make sure That's who Citrus County Schools is. That's our story. That's what we offer kids. That's what we want to focus on. And that's how we want to work together to kind of get kids to be successful, is to get to that graduation rate. So I will continue to focus on that. And I know I had some questions about your rebranding. It's costing money. It cost us $0 in the rebranding because my staff did it. So we gathered input from a variety of different stakeholders, and then the staff created the logo. And then people said, we have to get rid of everything. I said, no, as things wear out, as things, dry up and we have to change it, they get old, your shirt gets old, we'll change it. So you may see folks that still have the old logo and the new logo, and it's just fine. We'll continue to do that because I'm not going to spend additional money just to spend money because we have a logo. It'll happen electronically. We can do it, but we're going to take our time to go through that. As I talked about having that input, I have multiple councils that I've added this year. So I've talked about my student council because I meet with all of those high schools. We also had a parent council. So we continued that, expanded that a little bit. This year, I've added a business community advisory council, and that council meets twice a year. It's an opportunity, and we meet in the evening because I know people work. So I wanted to make sure we get together for about 2 hours, and it's a chance for me to listen and for you to talk. So I'll answer questions, but my goal is I want to hear, what are you wanting me to do? What are you thinking the school system needs to do, and how do we need to do that? The other two councils that were added, we've never had a staff council, and that's our support side of the house. And we've never had a teacher council, and that's our teachers that, do all this major work during the day. So I included those councils. It's made up of our teachers of the year and school-related employees of the year from every school. And it's a chance for me to have dialogue with them and hear, what are they thinking? What do we need? And I know as Sheriff Vincent talked about the budget, so I'm going to jump into the budget part as we kind of think about challenges, is, we're challenged with a budget of money for public education. Well, that's just the way it is. We're challenged with that. This year, as we went into the budget and we looked at what we could do, my goal is to, again, the healthcare, huge expenses there as we're trying to navigate that, as well as salary increases for our staff. So this year, when we went through it, we were able to give our staff 1% raises. Now, that is nothing. I'm going to tell you, that is not anything at all. We scraped the barrel. But in doing so, we did not give our administrative raises. I want you to know that. None of the administrators in this school system received any additional money for the work they're doing. Now, I'm hoping, I've talked to our finance director, say, can you scrape some more on the sides? Can you look? Can we find additional money to give them a little bit of something? Because at this point, it's not in the budget to do that. She's looking, seeing if there's open positions. We could say, can we give our administrators some money? I felt and I said, we are going to focus on our teachers and our staff. Those are the folks that are doing the main work. Not that our administrators don't, and I think we have great administrators, but I want to make sure the largest employer in this school, in this district, and I want to make sure our staff that's doing that work gets rewarded. So we provided that funding. Again, I'm hoping we can do more, but that's what we were able to do at this time of year. The other piece that we're focused on and challenged with is basically the technology that is moving so quickly, and we have to keep up to pace with it. And technology is not cheap. Many of you probably use artificial intelligence. Google or Alexa or ChatGPT or any of those types of things. People are leaning into some of those programs. When we go, a friend of mine is in the hospital down at Tampa General. And when I went down there, he explained that the nurse came in and the nurse is talking. And any of you that have been a nurse would know, like, you have a chart and you keep track of it. The nurse didn't write anything down. It was all being artificially, AI was generating what the nurse was saying and putting it in, and then had a report right there available to look at. And the nurse just went and said, let me check this. The blood pressure is this, and didn't write a thing down. And it all got captured. So we as a school system have to stay up to speed. As our students are leaving, I want to make sure they have the skills ready to do the work that they need to do. Because I'm just going to share a couple of jobs to say, do you remember these jobs? And some of you may. I've been around 35 years. Who remembers a switchboard operator? Remember?
Yeah.
The party line. Remember? That does not exist anymore, right? Like that is not around. And they don't have those jobs. An ice cutter. Remember someone used to cut, right? See, you're not that old. You could not. All right. What about this? A milkman. Someone to deliver milk to your house. Yes. Yes. Right. Right. What about a telegraph operator? Okay. Projectionist. You know what a projectionist is? Yes. No more. No, that job doesn't exist anymore. A typesetter. Right? 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 And what about this one? A human computer. A human computer. That's someone, normally it was a female, that did math calculations. Those jobs do not exist anymore. The challenge we have as a school system is in 5, 8, 10 years, we've got to prepare kids for jobs that don't even exist today. We don't even know what those jobs are, how to lean into some of this work, how to lean into the artificial intelligence. I don't believe it's going to replace, but it's going to enhance the work they do. We have to make sure that we have the skills, the tools, and those things available. One, for our staff to teach, but two, for our kids to learn and be able to use that. So what I ask of you, kind of as I call this my call to action, is one, please continue to support the great work of Citrus County Public Schools. I do believe we are a great school system. We have our challenges each and every day. There's ups and downs, there's things that we have to deal with, but please continue to support the great work of our teachers and staff that we have. We have some great things ahead of us and great opportunities available. It's moving very, very quickly. And we have to make sure that I want families to know we're the best game in town. If you're going to choose a place to send your kids, we're the place you want to send your kids. We want them to come to Citrus County Public Schools because we have some great opportunities. Because I believe we're preparing the next generation of leaders, the next generation of voters, the next generation of participants as the League of Women Voters are going to be in Citrus County Schools sitting in our seats today. And we want to be able to continue to do that. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. And I appreciate, again, being here with somebody no better than I would, great friend, Sheriff Dave Vincent. So thank you.
Can you stay for questions? Okay. Questions. When you ask your question, either use the microphone or speak very loudly. I see somebody there who's going to speak very loudly. And say to which person you want that question to go.
Absolutely. Sheriff Vincent,
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to remember a name, and hopefully before your first 4-year term is up. Remember the name, Wendell Roby. He is our son. He's a police officer in good standing, loves to patrol, just hit 25 years, and his mother is whispering in his ear. You're in that drop program? We need your citrus.
We do.
So, that in particular. You mentioned two things that I'd like you to elaborate on just a little bit. You've mentioned something about perhaps a new patrol area.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, and you made me forget the second one. But that's okay. It'll come to me. Tell me about that one.
Yeah. So as we were talking about staffing and that 35 number, so we all see what's happening in Citrus County, right? We are kind of like at the epicenter of growth right here at 486 and 491. This growth, we've outgrown what our current districts look like. Since I've been here, and even before me, patrolling in Citrus County for a deputy sheriff has been east side and west side. You have two sides of the county, and those are the two districts that we have. My vision for Citrus County is we need to start a third district, which I'm going to call the Central Ridge District. So if you could imagine just south of this intersection, almost like a pie shape going up throughout the county that encompasses on the side of Pine Ridge over towards Hernando, that's what the Central Ridge District, we know the growth is coming there. I talk to my friend Craig Dalton all the time, and he tells me about all the property things that are happening there. We know it's coming, so we've got to be prepared for that. I don't want to be behind the 8 ball and saying, oh my gosh, this is where all the growth's happening, the calls for service. When we look at data, data drives what we do every day. You know, when we look at staffing and stuff, where does the staffing need to be? When we create that third district, the staffing is probably going to be most heavy in that district because the calls for service are demanding that. So when you look at a place like Floral City, something like that, not a lot of calls for service. But what I will say, when it goes down in Floral City, it's big, right? And I can tell you from as a young deputy, that was my first patrol zone. Very quiet, but when something cranked off in Floral City, it was big, you know. And for those of you that have been around, I know right before I started the sheriff's office, there was a quadruple homicide in Floral City that just shocked the conscience of everybody. So, you know, Floral City's that quiet little sleepy town until it's not quiet. But you know, we don't need the staffing every day in Floral City like we need right here in Beverly Hills in this Central Ridge area. So really that 35 number is to get us to open that third district because you need more supervision. You need all of the things that help support a district. So that's what.
Right. Well,
Yep.
my second thing that I needed you to address is about the body cameras. In doing so, what is your policy, as briefly as you can tell us, about releasing those kinds of videos to the public?
Right. Yeah. So we that was a huge. So the question was public records request when it comes to body worn cameras. That was a huge part of the development of that. I want to be as transparent as I can with our videos because I believe it tells the true story what happens. Now I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but if you watch someone on YouTube, that might not be the whole video, right? They like to put little snippets. You know, we just got zinged by a First Amendment auditor a few weeks ago, and if you saw that, you know, it's a guy that goes around and tries to bait you to do something against the First Amendment, and then they go, "Oh, we got you." Well, what that video of that guy in Crystal River didn't show was all the agitation he did to all the patrons in the park to get the complaint generated on him that required a response. You know, they were like, "Hey, this guy's bothering us," you know, but all you see on his video is God bless veterans. You know, it looks like a great guy. Yeah, God bless homeless veterans. Yeah, we agree with that. But what he did show you was getting everybody all agitated before all that, before we got there. So to me, body cameras tell the story. There's going to be certain things, depending on the crime, that we can show the public and we can. And I'll be very open with that. If we have scenes in people's houses, deceased people, all those things, that's not something I want to broadcast. I don't want to put a family through that, but I want to be as sensitive as I can, as the public wants to know what happened. So we have a process that a request comes in. Usually it's the media. You know, they're knocking at our door 5 minutes after something happens, like, can we see the video? And it takes time to redact video. The system that we have is actually, when we talk about AI and jobs, the AI is getting so smart in the videos and in processing. If I tag your face one time and say, I don't want that through it's a 3 hour video. In 30 seconds, it'll have your face blurred out of that whole video. So it'll never be shown to the public. But it takes a little time to do that. These high profile cases, you know, if those happen, I want to get out in front of it. I don't want to sit behind and go, oh, we're not releasing that yet. As soon as we can release something, I want the public to see what actually happened. So you can expect that from me. Knock on wood, we haven't had a huge case that you know we really needed to get that video out. Thank goodness, but the world is crazy. You know, I don't even like saying the Q word or the S word. You know, slow or quiet. You know, we stay away from those words. But you know, I know a lot of you followed our campaign, and I really ran on that transparency. I really want to make sure the public sees the good work that we're doing. And I've always said about body cameras. Body cameras are going to show the great work that our men and women are doing out there every day. And are we going to have bad eggs, or are we going to make a mistake sometimes? Sometimes cops make mistakes. We're humans, right? But I can tell you, we make less mistakes than doctors, and we make less mistakes than lawyers. So, you know, but we tend to get highlighted for those. But anyway, so I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Wendell Roby.
Wendell Roby. We need experience.
I'll just stand up, although I know my voice carries. Dr. Hebert, Sheriff Vincent talked about recruiting issues and how he's addressing them. Do you suffer from the same challenges with retention and recruiting? And if so, what are you doing to address that? And what do you think is driving it?
So yes, we are suffering from that. We do have a program with our paraprofessionals that want to become teachers called the Para to Teacher program. We also have a program for our school psychologists because we had and still have, looking for those folks that want to provide that support. So what it is, it's a program. If you're a teacher to be a school psychologist, you can still work, go through the program, still get paid, and then end up doing that work. Same thing with the Para to Teacher. And para is a teacher's aide in our school. So they don't have the 4-year degree, so we provide that opportunity. Since we've done that, we've been able to keep our positions where they need to be. What we're challenged with, I will be honest, with the retention is there are folks that are coming out of school that end up going into the classroom and they're excited about the opportunity to work remotely. So families and staff that want to work remotely like that opportunity. So we're really Florida Virtual School is one of our competitors where we have staff that said, okay, I can teach, I can sit at home, I don't have to come into the office, I don't have to come into work, and I can do those same things. Now they don't get some of the same benefits that we may provide. We have a virtual teacher here who comes into the office most 99% of the time. She's there. But we have our own virtual school to do that. So we provide that so that and the teachers don't come in, Heather, right? The teachers all work remotely. But we do have staff that we're having to do that. So we do provide those incentives for the para. My focus is to really get to our high school kids and do a teacher academy at all of our high schools. We do offer some courses for students to kind of learn about it, but my goal is to have a teacher academy in each of our high schools, students that want to get into teaching and do that work to be able to provide that opportunity for them.
What I wanted to bring up is what the Citizens Academy. It's coming up in the spring. If they would like to go to the Citizens Academy, they can explain everything that goes on in the sheriff's office. I went last time they had it, and it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, good plug, Diane. Good plug. Yeah, our Citizens Academy and Superintendent, are you doing I can't remember if the school district's doing like a.
We
Yeah.
plan to start one next year.
Yeah, so we have a Citizens Academy that we're kind of going through. This first year was kind of like, all right, we kind of just went along with how it had kind of. I want to make it a little bit more exciting, but it really is a behind the scenes look at the sheriff's office. And I'm trying to remember if it's 10 or 12 weeks that you come in on Thursdays and you hear from all the divisions at the sheriff's office. The most exciting night is probably the special operations night where we go to the hangar and all the specialty teams show up with the SWAT guys, the bomb guys, we blow stuff up, all of that fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, check that out on our website under the Citizens Academy tab, and you can sign up for that. It's a great opportunity to learn about your sheriff's office. Yeah, Diane got to sit in the helicopter. Yes, sir.
Speak up for that Citizens Academy. I also
That's great.
graduated from it.
Yeah.
It's one thing.
Yeah.
I highly commend it to anyone.
Uh-huh.
One of the most interesting programs was the body cam. And one of
Yes.
the things you haven't touched on, but Dr. Hebert did, was the deputies, everything's recorded. He fills out a program, so it's cut down tremendously on the paperwork that they have to do. Gives them more road time.
Yeah, the AI. I keep saying AI is going to take over the world, but yeah. So the system we have is Axon. Most of you will know the name Taser. Taser was the original company, but it's called Axon now. So when you're having a conversation with one of our deputy sheriffs, the AI once you upload the video, I always said that if I can't fix the staffing problem, I need to make our people more efficient. So how do we do that? Use technology. The AI is writing our police reports based on what you said in that conversation. So as long as the deputy, here's the human part of this that you can't get away from. The deputy still has to ask the right questions. I need to go up and say, ma'am, what's your name? Vicky. And Vicky gives me her name, gives me her date of birth. As soon as she says that, here's how smart it is. It knows Vicky's voice for the whole rest of the video. So when she says something, it puts in the report, Vicky said blah, 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 about this. So the technology is amazing, and trying to prepare our students, like Dr. Hebert said, there's things that we don't even know that are going to exist 5 years from now when it comes to workforce and things like that. So technology is scary, but it's also amazing what it's doing, and it's making. And I will tell you, not every deputy sheriff is a great report writer. they don't have degrees in English, but AI has made them great report writers. So
AI going to make our kids less smart because all they have to do is, write I need a 100-page report on whatever. You repeat the question there.
I'll repeat. She asked if is AI going to make our kids less smart or not? And right, right.
Yeah.
No, I don't see that happening. What we're and again, AI is the first piece of technology, artificial intelligence, that has moved quicker than any other piece of technology that's been introduced in the world. They said in like 6 months, it had this huge movement. No other piece of technology had that. So as a school system, we're challenged with how do we make sure that we know when the students were asked to write something. So you're going to write, like you said, write a paper. Then I know they didn't just put it into AI and say, write the paper. The students aren't learning how to do that. So we're doing things on our school system to say, we put a red thing up and say, you can't use technology for this at all, because we have to make sure kids have to be able to think, right? They have to be able to understand things. They have to be able to look at something and determine, okay, is this right or wrong? And they have to be able to do that. If they're letting AI do all the work, then they're not going to be able to do that. So those again, that's a challenge of how do we make sure that we're giving kids the opportunities to learn how to use the artificial intelligence and be a part of it, while yet not having them not be able to write and do that work, because they do have to be able to do that. So I'm with a state organization. I'm actually the president now of that organization on research, and we're working through what does that look like and how do we provide that as a school system.
Yeah, and touching on that, my boys they just graduated college. Their paper submissions, they put those through a program, and AI. If they were trying to use AI, the AI saying, "No, you just plagiarized all of that," and like you didn't create that original content. So there is some systems that some of them have been around a while, because I remember, but it's getting better to where it's detecting whether you wrote something or not. So.
Can you comment on the expanded voucher program and how that's impacted our public schools? And the second part of that question is, are there any measurement safeguards in place to determine if like homeschool children receiving vouchers meet standard?
So I'll answer yes, there are expansions that have occurred. So as of now, and this has been since last year, families, if they want to take advantage of a family empowerment scholarship, they can get $8,000 or so, depending on, there's a weighted number, depending on their services, where they can educate their kids. The problem that has happened this past year, and you've probably read about it in the paper, is that there was no mechanism for tracking that funding to know if the student came and the parent said, I'm going to keep him home, here's your check, right? So they gave him the check. The student ended up coming back to public school. Well, the parent didn't write us a check, right? Like, didn't get the money. So they just came back. So having the money follow the student is something that I know the Department of Education in Florida is working on. I will say, how has that impacted? It has. We've had definite fluctuations in enrollment where we have families that are choosing to say, I want these opportunities, I want these choices for my children. So therefore, I'm going to not have them enroll in public school, and I'm going to homeschool, go to a private school that accepts the Family Empowerment Scholarship and do that work. So that means if we have less students, we're funded based on kids. We don't get funded based on, here, I'm going to give you a large amount of money. Every child earns what we call full-time equivalent, or a dollar amount that comes to the school system. So the less students we have, the less dollars we have to do the work that we need to do each and every day. So it has definitely impacted us, because the expansion in the past, when I started, I'm going to date myself, 35 years ago, we had Citrus County Public Schools and we had the school was called Central Catholic. I know it's gone through some reiterations, the private school, the Catholic school. Seven Rivers wasn't even really here yet. So now we have multiple schools, and we have our schools or students that are home education. Prior to COVID, we had about 600 students in home education. Those are families that chose to home ed. Anybody want to venture how many we have now in what we call home education? 2,500. Now, Heather, who's here, home ed now is with the e-school. So they help when families want to enroll in home ed. We try and get some of the funding back, because if they enroll in our virtual school, because many families need a curriculum, so we're like, hey, why don't you sign up for our Citrus virtual school? So the child stays at home, but they enroll in our virtual school. So we don't get full FTE funding, but we do get some of that funding back. So we've tried to work in that direction, but yes. And if you've heard of something called Schools of Hope, that's another program that is starting that we haven't been impacted in Citrus County, but I will tell you, my colleagues, other superintendents in other districts are impacted by the Schools of Hope. Do you know what, you want me to explain what that is? Yes. So a School of Hope is, and this was passed in the legislature, if a School of Hope wants to come to the district and your district has failing schools, Citrus County does not, so we don't have any failing schools, yay. But other districts happen to have that. So you're a failing school. If your enrollment at that school is below 70% and you have space, the School of Hope can come in and take over that part of the school. So I'm going to give an example. So let's say we have a wing at Lecanto High School, right, that has maybe 8 classrooms, and this School of Hope comes in and they have maybe 100 kids, and they say, oh, we can use that wing. We can do that. They can come in, they co-locate within their school. The school district is still responsible for the maintenance of the school, still responsible for some of the personnel and all of those other pieces while the School of Hope operates. So that's the idea behind it, but it's based on failing schools right now, is if a school is failing, and the capacity issue at that particular school if you're under that. So there's a couple markers that have to happen. Again, colleagues of mine have had operators want to come in. At this point, as of today, Citrus County has not had anybody choose to come in and do that. I'm not saying it won't happen. It just has not happened today. Yeah.
We're not aware that anybody that joins our, that they get scholarships, especially if it's a, you know, we have to get a scholarship.
Yes.
So she was just mentioning about students that are in ROTC can get scholarships. I will say one of the big things about Citrus County, we're very fortunate, is our students in this county, if you are not aware, this community gives well over $780,000 in local scholarships to our kids. And that's attributed to each of you and the organizations here that provide funding for our kids, to whether it's post-secondary at WTC or a university or college level. So we appreciate those opportunities. Many times our students are not aware. So we have Patrick Simon runs a group called the Citrus County Career and College Coalition, and they really help the students look for those local scholarships and help them to apply for them. So thank you for that.
I want to thank you both for coming today. I want you to know that I sleep better at night knowing that you are in charge and you are in charge. And yeah, go ahead. I'm on the committee.
Yes.
And we get to meet, and it's so wonderful to see somebody who is an excellent listener. And I volunteer for the Sheriff's Department. I'm very proud to do that. And can we just give them one more round of applause? Mm-hmm.
Sure. Thank you, together. There we go. Good. All right. What Vicky didn't say, that these men
are both husbands and fathers. And I think one's a grandfather.
I am, yeah.
So, yeah, what, how proud I feel to be part of this.
School, by the way, I'm first grader. I know.
Sheriff Vincent needs to go. He is not going to be eating with us. Dr. Hebert will stay if somebody wants to talk to him, but he's too busy to eat also. I don't want to separate anybody from their food, but we do have more to come. We'll let you get a little bit of food. I don't want to stop anybody from eating. And then we'll have some announcements from our board members.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Are we expected to go?
You're welcome.
I don't want
It's a great job. Well, their office, oh, it's not their primary office. So where do you start?
Oh, they are.
Oh.
They are. So that's it. Thank you.
I didn't know that. I wanted to go talk to her.
So, yeah, so she ate the wrong one. Okay.
No, I haven't.
No, you're right. Scott Royal, yeah. But she did your salad. It's fine, I can get you.
Yep, remember adding money, watering it down.
Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah. No guy, no guy, right?
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy with the presentations that those gentlemen made. But that's only part of the things that go on with the League of Women Voters. So I want to thank some people. I would like to thank Linda Abels, who has stepped up and she's doing publicity for the league, which is what would you call it? A vital job, but it's a bit of a pain in the neck because you have to meet deadlines. So could we have a round of applause for Linda, please? And I want to thank Deborah and Peg for all the nitty gritty for getting this going. Thank you so much. We wouldn't be sitting here eating if it wasn't for them. And we have some board members who have some announcements. So don't be shy. Who would like to come up first? Rosemary.
I started making a list.
Thank you. I'm with Vicky. This was an amazing meeting, and it was Vicky's idea to bring them both, and that was really awesome. They really worked together. So what a joy to live here, huh? I just want to give you a couple of updates. How many of you were at our November meeting when I presented on redistricting? Okay, maybe you weren't, but for those who haven't, you've probably heard that Florida wants to do what Texas did and redistrict. There are various stories depending on when the governor is interviewed about why. As of this week, he said we're going to have to now because the Supreme Court is going to make a a decision on the Louisiana versus Calais case about whether race should be considered in drawing congressional districts. So the short version is although the Florida House has started meeting, and our own Jeannie was there last week. She went to Tallahassee on a bus full of other league people, and she was there. Unfortunately,
Wanda was too.
oh, Wanda, I didn't know. Well, thank you both. Anybody else? Well, at any rate, the House, with all those people there, I guess they knew they were coming, and so they cut their meeting short and wouldn't let people have any public testimony. They're meeting again this morning. So we'll find out what happens. But the governor wants to have a special session and redistrict in March, April, or May. So that will be interesting with an election impending. So at any rate, I'll be writing something for the newsletter, but I just wanted you to know that, it's continuing to happen. You don't hear much on Spectrum Bay News 9, but yeah, you want to add something? Okay, education, it's on your little handout here. Our January meeting will be a follow-up on some of the information that Dr. Hebert mentioned. Mary asked him about funding. This presenter, the two ladies are from Family for Strong Public Schools, a wonderful ally group of the league. They will be talking about some of these issues. The title is Why Public Schools Matter, a look at Florida's school choice options. And I invited Dr. Hebert and his colleague Derek Butner to come to this meeting. They're not the presenters, but to answer any questions and to maybe give some local perspective. And one or both will be there. Speakers Bureau, Vicky's the head of our Speakers Bureau here in Citrus.
Yes, but Rosemary's the head of the Speakers Bureau for all the Florida leagues.
Well, no, a co-leader. But at any rate, we just want to make sure that all of you, because you belong to other organizations and church groups and civic groups, call us. We're in process of updating, but we most of our League of Women Voters of Florida presentations are on civics issue, things that matter to voting, elections, redistricting, for example, but we also have presentations on education, healthcare, reproductive care, environment, gun safety. So call us. We will come and talk to you. Candidates forums. Remember how well we did in 2024? Stay tuned. There's elections coming up, and our board is already working on planning those. So we will keep you busy and the candidates busy all through spring, summer, and fall. That's it from me.
Thank you, Rosemary. The last time I saw Dr. Hebert, I said to him, "Do you sleep?"
Yes.
And the same thing with Sheriff Vincent, and the same thing with you, Rosemary. Do you sleep?
You do.
She's like an ever-ready bunny. I would like Wanda Brown to come up and tell us about something that she has been working on for a long time.
Okay, now, this is for the restoration of rights for felons, and this just isn't very loud. Is this one louder? Yes, much louder. Okay, the restoration of rights. I want to say that last year about this time, I recruited about 7 people that wanted to work on that project. We got delayed in a couple projects, so we're trying to get back together. So if any of you are here, come and talk to me afterwards. But I want all of you to take out your pens and your pencils to write down House Bill 73 and Senate Bill 132. These are bills that are going to force the state to have a good database for felons and their lawyers to be able to go to see if they've completed everything. They have to complete all of their time, but they also have to pay all their fines. And there's no way to find out all their fines right now. So they just are in trouble trying to get their rights back. This law would change that. And so everybody write to your representatives and senators on House Bill 73 and Senate Bill 132, and it's called Restoration of Rights for Voting Database. And then I want you guys to, I have a couple handouts. I only made a few copies because we want you to also write to your legislators about this voting maps. Don't rig our voting maps. And for the league, we really do not want that redistricting to happen. So write to them at the same time on that district. And there's a couple handouts from that.
Would you say those bills again, please?
The bills are House Bill 73 and Senate Bill 132. And the name on it is Restoration of Rights Voting Database. So it's the restoration of felon rights. It may have that in the title too, but and then this is I want to talk to our committee because I did put in a grant application for some money, and we've got 4 projects actually. The postcard thing is still on hold. The state hasn't restarted that, but we could do it here if we want to and can come up with the money. We'd like to put on this league a lawyer's class, so we have lawyers that are willing to volunteer. And then, of course, we want to go to the prison. We still want to do that. And so we're waiting on the state league to help that go forward. Then, on another topic, have you guys ever made buttons? We're looking for buttons that say Narcan here. So we want you to carry your Narcan with you. And does anybody have a button machine to make these buttons? If you do, BJ and I want to talk to you. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Wanda. Come on up, Jean. Our secretary, Jean Messersmith. She's another one. Do you sleep?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I'm secretary of the League of Women Voters. I also went up to Tallahassee. It was such a joke. We went all that way. We had people from Port Charlotte. We had people from Naples that went all the way up there. And there was a half-an-hour presentation, and they closed it down. They adjourned it. No public comment until this morning at 8:30 in the morning. So how many people are coming from Naples at 8:30 in the morning for public comment? You really have to stay on top of this, because I'm afraid that our African-American voters are going to be disenfranchised by any new redistricting maps. So stay on top of it. It's not just our votes, it's our racial minorities, our people of color that really need to be represented, okay? Second thing, I have another hat that I wear for the public state park. How many of you gone to the Nights of Lights? Nobody's gone to Nights of Lights? Okay. Nights of Lights is this weekend. It's always the second weekend of December. It profits the community food bank. So when you go in, there's no admission. You just drive your car in, you park, and you walk this fairyland of lights. And it's over by Floral City on Old Floral City Road in Inverness. Come Friday night, it's at 6 o'clock till 8:30. Saturday night, 6 o'clock to 8:30. You bring a non-perishable food item or animal food like cat food or dog food, or you can do an unwrapped toy. So it's good for our community, but it's just a magical experience. There's no snow, there's no ice. So come and just walk this great pathway, all paved paths. So tomorrow night and Saturday night, well, Friday night and Saturday night, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I want to wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and please, God, let's all have a Happy New Year. Thank you all for coming.
They're still counting.
Oh, yes, and I forgot something else. Can we have a huge round of applause for the staff here? Can you hear it back there? there were like stealth airplanes, the way they got all these meals out, and we could continue the meeting. We appreciate that. And where did Nora go? Nora's here. Should be. Let's let Wanda do it. Take your tickets out. This is 50-50? It's 50-50. How much is in the,
Wow.
how much is in the
$72.
$72? Oh, okay. 405-1662. Not me. 405-1662. Is that you, Doc? Doc Lane, hey, congratulations. Who has the money? Deborah has the money, Doc, right over there.